stairway and memories a lane. We'd walk right up to heaven and bring you back again. It broke our hearts to lose you, but you did not go alone. For part of us went with you the day God called you home. God looked around his garden and he found an empty place. Then he looked down upon the earth and he saw your precious face. He put his arms around you and he lifted you to rest. God's garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best. Yes, he always takes the best. We knew that you were suffering. We knew you were in pain. We knew you'd never get well on this earth again. So he closed your weary eyes and he whispered, peace be thine. Then he took you up to heaven, so gentle and so kind. God looked around his garden and he found an empty place. Then he looked down upon the earth and he saw your precious face. He put his arms around you and he lifted you to rest. God's garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best. Oh, God's garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best.
Good afternoon, everyone. We have come here to celebrate the life of John Lillard Walker. He touched our lives in so many ways. I'm not even sure we could write them all down. And the number of people whose lives he touched and whose lives changed because his life changed. And one day when he decided he was going to be a different person, and he came, and I'll share it briefly with you. He called me one day, and he told me, and I was talking to him, and Johnny sometimes could be not very kind. And I listened to him a little while, and then I said to Johnny, I love you very much as a brother, but until you can make another choice, and go down another path, I cannot talk to you anymore. I love you, and I hung the phone up. And about 2-3 weeks later, Johnny called me and said, I'm ready to do more than what I've done in the past, and I want you to come, Eddie, and take me to treatment. And I took him. And I left him there, and he stayed the whole 30 days, never complained, and then he left. And when he left the place where he was getting treatment, he went down a different path, that he never turned back, he never looked back, and he never chose any way but the path which he was going to travel. And my hunch is, many of you know exactly what I'm talking about, because he would be there and he would show you and he would tell you. And I'm proud to say my brother. So, our family and myself, we welcome all of you here because we're celebrating a very special person, the life of Johnny. Somebody left out a middle point. I have to talk to them about that. Johnny Lillard Walker. Johnny didn't say that very much because he didn't like it either. But Johnny Lillard Walker, life of him, someone who has touched all of our hearts. And if there's one person in here whose hearts have not been touched by him, talk to the person next to you. He touched the minds of people to recognize the contribution that made in his life he lived out, and how he touched people and helped people came alive through his music, through his dance, through his caring about people around him and making a difference, not only for himself, but those whom he knew. And so we are here today to recall and to remember all that he has done, all that he has done for me, for you, and every person I would bet on it that's sitting next to you this afternoon. And all that he has given not only to you, our friends, but his professions and his community. He has left us joy. Left joy to us he had helping other people. And so we are here today to celebrate someone whom I love carefully, deeply, Johnny Lillard Walker.
What were some of the venues you worked in when you were dancing professionally? Where'd you work?
Oh gosh, I did 8 Broadway shows. I did, touring shows. I did 2 national tours. I danced with New York City Opera Ballet. I danced with the Atlanta Ballet, the Miami Ballet, the Dallas Opera Ballet. I did concerts at Town Hall of Yemenite, folk dancing. I did 3 choreographic workshops at Clark Center of Performing Arts in New York City. Anything, because first of all, I was so totally in love with what I was doing. It was the only thing that I could do. It's just, as I've gotten older, I realized that that's just what I am, That's what I've always been.
Good afternoon. Sorry, it's going to be hard. As many of you may know, as Eddie mentioned, that day when Johnny changed the trajectory of his life, he never looked back, and he was so proud of the demons he fought and the direction that he took. And there was certain literature that he read from every day to keep him centered. And he had a specific request. Actually, it was a demand, followed by a threatening to haunt us if we didn't follow his wishes. So, I don't think any of us wants to be haunted, but he has specific passages, and these also date from November 6th, on the day of his passing. So, I'll start it off. When a man or a woman has a spiritual awakening, the most important meaning of it is that he has now become able to do, feel, and believe that which he could not do before in his unaided strength and resources alone. He has been granted a gift which amounts to a new state of consciousness and being. He's been set on a path which tells him he is really going somewhere, and that life's not a dead end, not something to be endured or mastered. In a very real sense, he's been transformed because he has laid hold of a source of strength which he had hitherto denied himself. Thank you.
Mine is from November 3rd, and the last night I spoke with him. Our philosophy of living does not reach as far as immortality. It concerns itself with living this life one day at a time. We do feel, however, that if we live this day to the best of our ability, endeavoring each day to improve over the preceding day, then when the time comes for us to consider immortality, we will be in a very favorable position, to say the least. Thank you.
The main thing in life is not to be afraid of being human. The shoulds of our lives can be found all around us. We should wear our seatbelts. We should not cry. We should go to our meetings. These shoulds usually serve as good guides for us, but they can intrude upon us. If we give them power, they only condemn us and give us useful help, or no useful help, excuse me. At times we jump toward the should because we don't have the courage to live with the insecurity of being human. If someone at work gets in an unfair shake, it takes courage to speak up and say what we think. We may have an impulse to reach out to a stranger, but it takes courage to do it. When an inner feeling emerges from our honesty, fear may prompt us to avoid it, and we need to call on our courage. That is how we fulfill the uniqueness of each of us. I am alive as a man and a human being. I will not shy away from opportunities to express my humanity. And then John had written, I will not should on myself today.
Mine is from November 6. There are no boundaries to meditation. It has neither width, depth, nor height, which means that it can always be further developed without limitation of any sort. Meditation is an individual matter. Few of us meditate in the same way, and in that sense, it is truly a personal adventure. For all of us who practice meditation seriously, however, the purpose is the same, to improve our conscious contact with God. Despite its lack of specific dimensions and despite its intangibility, meditation is to be more practical than that. Am I broadening and deepening the channel between myself and God? Today I pray, as I seek God through daily prayer and meditation, may I find the peace that passes understanding, that balance that gives perspective to the whole of life. May I center myself in God. Today I will remember my balance comes from God.
Work will win, wishing won't. There is a time and place for everything. Wishing is one of them. Sometimes it is incredibly therapeutic, to say nothing of just fun, to wish upon a star. In those moments, we can conjure up the most delicious situations and events. These may become roadmaps to reality at some point. There are times, however, when wishing is not sufficient. There are times when the only appropriate response is work. There are times when all the wishing in the world will not do the work that needs to be done. Wishing alone does not get us to meetings or accomplish the important insights gained from actually sitting down and working through our family of origin situations. Wishing alone does not let go of resentments, start relationships, or improve our physical condition. There is a time for both. Wishing and work are both benevolent. Our task is to know the difference between the two and decide which one is called for. The different purposes of wishing and doing are becoming clearer to me. This is a quote by Winona LaDuke Ojibwe, Green Party vice presidential candidate. There needs to be room in a political party for all of us, because if we actually want to get things done, we've got to make room for the diversity of people. November 6, 1986, Ben Nighthorse Campwell was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, Colorado. Campwell, a Northern Cheyenne Native American from Montana, is the second Native American elected to such a position.
This is from a little book called Desiderata. It's a little different than the others. And in the front of it, John left a message, I guess, to those of us who would come read it later. And it says, "Notice the corners of these pages. They are discolored by my turning these pages thousands of times. I don't remember who gave me this little book, but I thank them deeply. It has given me hope and acceptance of myself many, many days. When I read this book, I rub the pages. I used to see my mother do that when she read things that she wanted to keep in her life." And he dated it 3/10/16, a most beautiful morning on the island, John L. Walker. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and the ignorant, for they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of times. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let not this blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the year, gracefully surrendering to the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. But do not distress yourself with imagining. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Be a wholesome disciple. Be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars, and you have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul, with all its sham, druggery, and broken dreams. It is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change all I can, and the wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference. God grant me the serenity to accept, yeah, the things I wisdom to know the difference. Serenity, courage, 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 wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom, yes, the wisdom. The wisdom to know the difference. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change all I can, and the wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom to know the difference. God grant me serenity. Ooh, serenity. God grant me serenity. Serenity.
I promise you I'm not going to be as good as the others. All right. Johnny was a lot of things to a lot of people throughout his life, but the greatest thing was being my uncle. John was a dedicated and firm believer in the AA program. He was so proud of his 36 years of sobriety. He was dedicated to helping many individuals through their own roads to recovery. John was a master gardener. His garden was his happy place, his peace, his escape, his meditation area. Every morning, strong black coffee, his meditation bag, the fire pit going, and his Native American music. He would spend at least an hour reading. Sorry, I can't see when you're messed up. Out of his books, that calendar day's thoughts. The past several days, I've been able to flip through his books and finding that these books were his journals and written prayers. He recorded dates, wrote out prayers at times begging his Great Spirit to give him peace and patience. Many pages have words highlighted that had great significance to him. He created magic in every skill he had, gardening, cooking, sobriety, coaching. But his greatest magic came to life in 1,000 studios, stages, dressing rooms, beaches, docks, streets of New York City, Atlanta, Europe, Roanoke Island, and Elon. The countless and 5, 6, 7, and 8s. The beating of the drum, which magically would change volumes along with his voice to match the way you were rehearsing or the lack thereof. From untucked tushes to fish feet, the beating of the drum magically corrected all our bodies. The stick was used in a similar way, only during bar work. It could magically tighten a tush, lift a gut or a chin, broaden shoulders, with the love taps you never knew were coming until they did. He dedicated his entire life to his nieces and nephews, leaving us with unwavering knowledge on the true meaning of service and love. He gave us countless adventures. Many of you have had the pleasure of walking on the product of those adventures. As you walk through his gardens at the Walker Dance Studio or the garden at his Glen Raven home, oh yes, our hands are the hands that picked up those bricks and rocks from the adventures he would take us on. Then the adventures would continue with unloading truckloads and handing them one by one to him as he laid them in the ground. But at the end of every adventure was a pizza party or an ice cream party with giggles and cuddles with our bestest uncle. If he did hand us money, he would make quite clear, now this is not payment for what you have done today. You should want to help Uncle John find bricks, and you should want to load them into the truck. Hence, we all have grown up willing to help and give wherever needed without getting paid. He gave most of us our Walker attitudes and blunt tongues and taught us how to use them by example. I can remember the very moment I learned he doesn't take attitude or disrespect. I was 10 in the middle of a typical dance class. He had upset me for some reason during the bar warm-up work. I don't remember how. I probably got blamed for laughing with Jacob Brent, Melissa, and Karen. We were the troublemakers. We were starting our across the floor part of class, and me, well, I forgot we had a mirror that covered wall to wall, and that John could see everything. There I go, sticking my tongue out at him because I was mad. And I tell you, the capacity he had to shrink a person to an inch in a nanosecond, he flipped around to me, kicked me straight out of class, out the door. There was another time when my younger siblings and I were spending the night with him when he lived above the studio. He needed some things from the Winn-Dixie across the street. So we go. John stuck 2 packs of cigarettes in the cart. We didn't like him smoking, so we wanted to give him a slight encouragement to quit. So we took the 2 packs out of the cart and hid them behind the magazines. So we get back and he's unloading the groceries. Can't find cigarettes. And by this time, we're all scared for our lives. Needless to say, we didn't get our ice cream party that night, and I never hid his cigarettes from him again. Johnny was never too busy for us, from youngsters to adulthood. If we needed him in any capacity, he would be there. So out of all his titles in life, his greatest one was being my uncle, our uncle, my John. I'll never know exactly how many lives John touched, but one thing's for sure, he left his fingerprint on every single heart that had the pleasure of knowing him. I had the pleasure, along with my cousin Kimberly, of being with John when he finished his final performance and talking him into his next. What an honor it has been to travel the grueling 22-month journey with him, from watching him not be able to walk and dance, to not be able to prune his garden, to the conversations of his life struggles, life triumphs, to the laughs and talking crap to each other, to the cries of watching the spirit of life slowly being sucked out of him. It's a journey I've learned much patience, trust, and selflessness. So here's your final 5, 6, 7, 8, Johnny. Go give him hell.
I'll ask you one last question here. What kind of people do you look for?
I would rather, if I audition, I like to think I have a sixth sense of picking people or choosing people that I want to work with. I would much rather work with someone with less training and not the best body in the world or whatever, but has a good, positive attitude. I can deal with the rest of it, you know. I don't deal with attitude. Other issues can be, you know, trained. They can learn those other things, but the work discipline and the attitude toward the work is much more important to me than someone that can do 4 and 5 pirouettes and an extension up by the ear and so on. I don't, that's not what I look for. I'd much rather work with a personality and a person. I really do believe that everybody's talented, everybody's there. They're just willing to work for it.
I wish I had a lot of time to tell y'all some things about Johnny. But one of the questions I want to ask some of you, first of all, where did you get those stones to go on that altar? And what, some of you in that pew, how many rocks did you have to pick up to put in Johnny Walker's car to take and put around his flowers? I always ran him when I saw him do that because I didn't want to pick up none of his rocks. But that's what he did. And he made a lot of wonderful things with them. You walk around his garden, you see all of who he was and all of what he held. And to walk around his gardens, many times I'd go visit his home, and every morning he would walk around his garden. And I think he truly knew every name of the garden, of a flower or bush that was in that garden. And he got that from his mother, because his mother, our mother, she knew the name of every flower, tree, bud, everywhere she walked. The rest of us didn't have that skill or nail, or we didn't care, but Johnny did. And he walked around and he could look at them, and they touched his life, inspired him for other people. Sometimes we'll ride by and see what he did. And I'd like to share with you, there are lots of things I could share with you, but I'd like to share something that Johnny held to be true, and so did I. He and I both have always appreciated Native Americans, and we learned a great deal about them. But Johnny particularly liked Native Americans, and he held them close to him, and he would read about them and learn about them. You can see on the altar there, his books, capers there. That's what he read every morning. Many of you probably didn't know that. Every morning after he got sobered, he got something like that. And from my knowledge, and every time I would go see him, he had his little bag, he had his books, and every morning that I knew of him, his life, he would pause and he would read his devotions. It could be anything, but it inspired him. And he would read it, and he would sit there, and he would meditate upon it, and it would make the difference. And that's how the person he was, that he became. And one of the pieces that Johnny had, he took in, was Native American beliefs and things that touched his life. And I'd like to share one of those with you. It's an Indian prayer, and it goes like this. O great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds, life to all the world, please hear me. I come before you, one of your many children. I am small and weak. I need your strength and I need your wisdom. Let me walk in beauty and make my eyes ever behold the red and the purple sunset. May my hands respect the things you have made, my ears sharp to hear your voice. Make me wise so that I may know the things you have taught my people, the lessons you have hidden in every leaf and every rock. I seek strength not to be superior to my brothers, but to be able to fight my greatest enemy, myself. Make me ever ready to come to you with clean hands and straight eyes, so when the fades as a fading sunset, my spirit may come to you without shame. My brother Johnny was not ashamed of who he was. And Johnny lived his life with his head held high. No matter what else he said, but he held that head high and made a difference. And he touched so many people along the way. If we could get all the people today whose life Johnny touched, we would have to build another building and go there, because that's the kind of person he was, and touch their lives. But he has gone, as he would understand, to the Spirit without shame. He walked in strength and lived in wisdom, and into the beauty sunset. He is not afraid there. He is safe, and he is comfortable. Now Johnny can walk again, and he can dance again forever. Forever. And all of you who ever had contact with him, you know what that was. And he leaves some of that with each and every one of us, that we can dance forever. Johnny is home. With the ones who love him and who waits for him and are there now. And the last thing that we can say about Johnny is this. He is now on the largest life graduate stage that has ever been. And there he is. To my brother Johnny Walker, whom I loved and cherished and did so many things in which I had time to share, but one I must leave with you, as meaningful as this is, all those rocks on that altar, where did they come from? Do you know how many rocks my brother Johnny Walker told you to pick up? That's what he did. And I'm not sure about all the things in heaven, But if there's a rock there, he's going to get somebody to pick it up. He's not taking it.
But at the time I was doing it, it was the most comfortable place in my life. I felt more comfortable on stage than I did in life. And it was where I belonged. It was my home. And I was safe there. I was never, ever frightened on stage. No.
I know your life on earth was troubled. Only you could know the pain. You weren't afraid to face the devil. You were no stranger gathered round your grave to grieve. Wish I could see angels' faces when they hear your sweet voice sing. So go rest high to heaven.
Family, and I just wanted to thank all of you for being here, and it's in the program, but we did want to send out a special thank you to a few people. The one thing that Johnny really, really wanted was to stay home till the end of his days, and without a lot of people involved, we wouldn't have been able to do that. Gracie, I don't know where you are, but thank you so, so much for everything you did for us, everything you did for him. Without you, I don't know if it would have been possible for him to stay home, and we really can't thank you enough. To Courtney, you helped Gracie so much and Johnny so much. I know he knew you for a short time, but he loved you. And to David and Jack and Rex, there at the drop of a moment, literally, to do anything we needed. You know, I would call you from New York City and say, can you put up a mailbox? Can you hang a light bulb? Can you sit with Johnny? Can you get to Johnny's house right now? And you guys did it, and the stress that took off of us, and the peace of mind knowing that there were people here that loved him and could help him. Thank you so much. Johnny insisted on a celebration after his service. He wants everyone who can to come back to his home and be hungry and share memories with each other. One of the things he directed us to do, and I'm not going to be the one to not do what Johnny says, is in the front of the house. When you get there, you will see some pictures laid out and some bins that have lots of pictures in them, and he wants everyone to go through and pick out something. I don't know if there's enough for everyone, but probably, because it's Johnny. And please do not feel weird about it. Take a picture. Take what you find that means something to you or would remind you of him or anything. He insisted on this. Do not feel weird about going through them. We all know we better do what Johnny wanted. Please take a picture. Please do not park in the driveway. Go through the driveway to the back of the garden, and there's a church across the street where everyone can park and come around the side of the house to the garden, and there will be food and drinks and lots of great memories.
We just wanted to explain the song that we're walking out to. After every single Nutcracker performance, it was Happy Holidays. So you'll never hear it in another funeral, I'm sure, but that's why we chose that.
Thank you so much for coming.
Happy holiday, happy holiday, happy holiday, happy holiday. While the merry bells keep ringing, happy holiday to you. Happy holiday, happy holiday. It's the